Hi, my name is Sierra Fisher, and I'm going to be talking about dismantling stereotypes using the film Bipolarized: Rethinking Mental Illness. So a synopsis of the film is that it follows a man named Ross Mackenzie as he rebels against the label of being bipolar. He also starts exploring alternative treatments after being on lithium for more than a decade. This includes going to a lithium detox clinic in Costa Rica, talking with a shaman, talking with doctors who specialize in heavy metal toxicity treatments. Throughout the film, he also goes to a protest rally for survivors of the mental health system. He interviews authors who investigate Big Pharma, and he talks with physicians of varying kinds. At the end of the film, he's also considering the possibility that he might actually have PTSD from his childhood instead of having bipolar disorder. In terms of portrayal of the disability, bipolar disorder is considered an emotional and behavioral disorder. Some of the things that the film gets right is things such as the average age of onset for bipolar disorder is 25. Ross gets diagnosed after high school, so this is accurate. The treatments that are mentioned in the film, such as lithium, are also really accurate, and it talks about environmental factors such as stress affecting the onset of a mood. I will say it's a documentary, so even though it's accurate, it's only accurate for Ross's experiences, not necessarily the experiences of everybody who has bipolar disorder. In terms of psychosocial stigmas, I feel like the film primarily deals with three, the first of which is the burden of disability is unending. So a quote from one of the women at a protest rally said, "During my 13 years in the mental health system, I believed that I was broken and incapable of being fixed, that I needed psychiatry to create a life that came anywhere close to being considered normal, that my emotional suffering was due to something wrong with my brain." So the film counters this by showing Ross with his family, by showing these people at the rally who are survivors of the mental health system just living regular lives. The next psychosocial stigma that the film counters is that disability is a sickness, something to be fixed, an abnormality to be corrected or cured. So some quotes that I picked out from the film are, "The first time I ever met the psychiatrist, he gave me 6 prescriptions. Once a label gets dispensed, that means drugs can be prescribed to treat it." And at one point when Ross says, "Where does the personality end and the disease begin?" In the film, Ross also makes a satirical commercial about antipsychotic drugs. So the film counters this by really questioning what is normal, how do we define normal, and these normal human emotions, at what point are they too much that it's considered a disability? I believe that him exploring alternative treatments is also countering this stigma, which is very westernized, that medications can treat everything. So the next psychosocial stigma this one is a little more alluded to in the film, which is that people with disabilities are a menace to others, to themselves, and to society. So at one point, Ross recalls the time when he escaped a mental institution because a woman was threatening to kill him. So in the reenactment, he is running around the streets nude at nighttime, and when the police capture him, they actually injure him. They put him into a straitjacket and into a padded room. This stigma is particularly prevalent to people who have what are considered mental disabilities, such as bipolar disorder. And again, the film counters this by just showing people who have bipolar disorder, particularly Ross, as just normal people trying to live their lives. So the effects that this film has on individuals who are watching it, it's pretty empowering to watch someone try and challenge their diagnosis and find alternative treatments. I feel like people can relate to that even if they don't have a disability. I will say the documentary is kind of slow-paced, and it's a lot of video diaries, so it's not the most engaging to people who are watching it. And there's not a lot of diversity represented in the film, which our textbook states that African American students are way more likely to get diagnosed with emotional and behavioral disorders, so I did find that a little disappointing not to see in the film. Overall, the film is informative. One more thing that I wanted to say is that I wonder if the film might encourage people to seek alternative treatments, but without the proper resources and supports. So Ross travels extensively through the film. He gets over 20 chelation treatments, and I wonder if people tried this without a doctor, it might be dangerous to their health. Some of the things that I learned from watching this film is that I learned a lot about bipolar treatments and medications. I enjoyed the cultural challenge and the perspective that these disorders are only treated by medications, so I enjoyed that he challenged that. I also learned that most people get diagnosed in their late teens or early 20s, so as a secondary teacher, this is something that I could encounter with my students, and I think I really internalized that holistic teaching practices and strong support systems would be beneficial to students who are dealing with this. Lastly, here is my reference page. Thank you for watching and have a great day.